character building. This goes to add on to what I was kind of discussing, and I'd love for you guys to hop on this, but the whole aspect of like embodying the individual you need to become and the type of character you need to become. What are your thoughts on that? How do you improve your character, and how do you lay out a roadmap on how to do that? Because I think a lot of people focus on like, oh, set goals, and sure, that's what we just discussed, right? Like set goals and do what you got to do, but they set a lot of financial goals, monetary goals, same thing. Maybe like career goals, like, oh, I want to become more religious. I've never really met people who sit down and go, you know what, I want to set characteristic goals. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
The first thing that comes to my mind is when it comes down to characteristic goals, have you ever, what's kind of like a way that y'all have tried to develop a new good habit?
I need to have a why.
You need to have a why.
Yeah.
But when it when it comes down to like developing a new good habit that I don't do regularly, one of the things I tell myself is, instead of telling myself like, oh, you know what, I'll start it later, even if I have no reason, I'll start it now, right? Like in this moment, can I just do this just in order that I can start developing the practice of it? And then slowly but surely you'll start remembering, right? That you want to do it again, you want to develop it as a good habit, so you start doing it more often.
What was that?
So like, just like for a random example, let's say somebody is just like, oh, I want to commit to doing more push-ups a day, right? What's stopping you right now in this moment from doing push-ups?
Or like another one could be like, what's stopping you from like, oh, I want to be coming on like.
Anyway, so
I want to be going to places on time and not being late. So like, what's stopping you from being late?
Like, that's definitely something in my character that I have to work on. But I think what ends up happening is a lot of people, what they'll do is like you said, they'll put off the idea of becoming a better person for the sake of like other goals. You know what I'm saying?
They'll put off the idea of becoming a better person for the
sake. Are you trying to get to they set another goal before they actually achieve their first goal?
No. What they'll do is they'll be like, listen, I'll focus on, like, have you ever heard someone say like, oh, I'll focus on my salah, for example, after I get my money right? Or more commonly, I'm not going to think about marriage until, I have the big house and the this and that.
Yeah.
Right? But in the meantime, you should always be working on who you are as a person, right? In order to qualify yourself to be a good, spouse. And when it comes down to character development, I think, one, obviously it's very important, but two, expose yourself to what a good character is, right? As soon as possible, as soon as right now. Like, what's stopping you right now from being a better person, And the biggest thing for me that I have as a suggestion for others is hop on and learn the seerah of the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam.
Oh, for sure.
That's number one.
Yeah. That's like, I think that is the main thing you should do.
That is literally the first thing you need to get done, because you want to see what a perfect example of a human being is, right? One who's always on time. The Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. You know what I mean?
He was actually
He was actually early. From there, you then study the lives of all the other prophets. And then from there, even go in to study the lives of the Sahaba, right? And that alone should give you a wide enough understanding so that you can catch yourself in those moments where you realize you have a decision, whether or not that decision is going to make you look like a good person or it's going to make you look like a bad person.
I also think, by the way, that's the balance between what we just discussed earlier. So like, we talked about setting goals and growing and becoming a savage, basically. You need to make sure you're also focusing on your character, because this world can suck you in so quickly you don't even realize it. Like, a lot of people like who might be listening to this go, oh yeah, I want to make money, that's cool, but like, whatever, like, I'm not gonna do it. Like, I've had so many people who, like, I sit down and I tell them how much I've seen in my bank account, how much I've done personally, and they're just like, it's so like out of reach for them that they don't even they think I'm BSing. Like, I've literally had people go, nah, you're full of it, right? And when you don't have the right mindset to think it's possible, if for whatever reason you somehow land it and you get it, and you haven't developed your character and you haven't focused on who you are as a person, you can go sideways so fast. So like, you know, whether it's greed, for example, you know, like you get a lot of money, all of a sudden now you think you're too cool, so you stop hanging out with your friends. Or you think you're like at a certain level, so now you're like don't associate with certain people. So I think it's very important to intertwine both your development as a human being in this world, but also your characteristics at the same time, so that you can kind of like get to the end goal, whatever that is, right? There's not really no such thing as like an end goal in life until you die, but you get to that like stage in life where you have what you want in your career, in your, you know, family, etc. But you're also the characteristic, you're also the type of person that you've always inspired to become. If you don't do both at the same time, one or the other is going to fall to the other side. And that's the beauty of Islam. It's very all about balance, right? So I think to like really top off what you're saying, it's super important to like recognize that as you're growing in your career, as you're growing in your life, you need to make sure to also like check yourself. And it's like, okay, am I still being the right person? Am I developing the right characteristics to deserve the things that I'm going to receive? You know?